She thought she'd found the sister she never had.
They connected very well. Wherever they went together. They were like buddies.
But she would soon discover that her trusted confidant was really out to destroy her.
She threatened to kill me. She threatened to slice me up, cut me into pieces.
This is Iva Frank Singer's story, where rejection prompts an unrelenting pursuit of revenge.
I'm Dr. Michelle Ward. I'm a criminal psychologist, and I was stalked. In fact, anyone can become a victim. Over 3 million people are stalked every year in this country. Although many survive their ordeal, others don't. These are their terrifying stories.
You listen to me, you piece of I know where you are 24 hours a day. I got a big gun. I am personally coming to your house, and I am gonna blow your head off. Kiss your ass goodbye.
Iva Frank Singer grows up in Clovis, California, just outside of Fresno. She's the youngest of 5, a spirited little sister to 4 older brothers.
She was a very happy person. She was very charismatic, very caring. We did a lot together. We're a very tight family. We still like doing things together.
From a young age, Iva is drawn to the spotlight.
I've always been able to just go up on stage and sing or dance or whatever and go in front of the camera. I did commercials and radio shows, and I just instantly fell in love with everything about it.
When Iva is 19, she moves to Los Angeles to pursue an acting career. To support herself while she goes on auditions, Iva takes a job as an assistant at a talent agency, helping to find their next big star.
People would send in their resumes, so every day we would go through like 100 pictures and resumes. And if it's somebody that, you know, just grabs you, then you bring them in.
One young woman who catches Iva's eye is Edith May.
She came in, she's very what we call Procter & Gamble. It means you're commercially marketable.
Iva is able to get Edith parts on commercials and TV shows like the 90s hit comedy Sybil. The two bond over their shared passion for acting and become fast friends.
She was a pleasant person. She was very funny. She was bright. She had a good sense of humor.
Meanwhile, in 1995, Iva's own career takes off.
I had landed a show called Space Above and Beyond, and from then I just kept, working guest star and co-star roles. So my career had started picking up momentum.
Iva hopes she and Edith can rise up the ladder together. But unfortunately, Edith struggles to land even small parts. In 2000, in addition to her acting career, Iva decides to launch her own talent management company. She takes Edith on as a client, and the two grow even closer.
They connected very well. Wherever they went together. They went out to parties, they went to bars.
But the more time Iva spends with Edith, the more she begins to see that her new friend has a dark side, especially when she drinks alcohol.
She would have like one sip of a martini and her personality would completely change. You could tell she was always very angry when she would start drinking.
And Edith's anger soon turns to outright jealousy of Iva.
I was a skinny bitch. There were comments about my blonde hair. I thought it was just insecurity issues, so I didn't really think a lot of the things that she was saying or doing.
One summer night in 2003, Iva brings Edith to a friend's karaoke party. But from the moment they arrive, Iva immediately regrets her decision to invite Edith.
She beelined right to the bar. I just remember thinking, oh no, when she had a drink in her hand. The minute I saw it.
Like clockwork, Edith's behavior takes a turn, and she begins insulting the party guests. And it soon goes from bad to worse. Edith starts spreading vicious rumors about Iva and the party's host, Mark.
She started telling his girlfriend that he and I were dating, which was a complete lie and fabrication.
Edith's exhibiting some behaviors that are worrisome. Iva already knows that Edith is a bit jealous of her, but now she's starting rumors about her at a party. She's telling lies, and I'm sure that's, concerning Iva to some degree. Why is she lying? To me, this might indicate that Edith is a bit unstable.
It was very embarrassing. I literally had to apologize and drag her out the door. I said, unless you stop drinking, I can't be your friend.
The next day, Edith arrives at Iva's house with a handwritten apology. She begs for forgiveness and reveals to Iva that she is taking antidepressants. She blames her strange behavior on the side effect of mixing the drugs with alcohol. Iva is sympathetic and decides to give her another chance.
She stayed friends with her because I guess she felt sorry for her.
Well, I felt as a friend I could help her.
Edith appears to stop drinking, but her behavior takes another bizarre twist. She begins to fixate on Iva's appearance and soon goes to great lengths to emulate her.
She would say, if I dyed my hair blonde, I would get a lot of attention like you. And she dyed her hair blonde. She said she was trying to be more attractive.
I think Edith is struggling with being kind of hateful toward Iva, but also really wanting to be Iva. So she tries to look like her. So here she is kind of going back and forth, caught up in this tug of war. And I fear she might spiral out of control and become a bit aggressive.
Although Iva finds it surprising that Edith has dyed her hair blonde, she is happy when her friend seems more stable and self-assured. Then, one night, Edith tells Iva that she's going on a blind date with a film director named Neil Johnson.
She'd met him on the internet and she invited him to come over.
We chatted and we were very friendly, but she didn't seem to be really my type. So I left politely and said thank you and you're a really nice person. But I made it very clear that I was not interested in any form of relationship with her.
But Edith doesn't take the rejection well. In fact, she seems to snap. She suddenly dyes her hair back to black. Then she begins to lash out at Neil.
She was signing up his email for porn and all this other stuff. She would go on his film website and she would constantly, put like really rancid and nasty comments on there about him.
I thought that was a little strange. I don't know why she'd do something like this. There was something creepy about the whole thing.
I started looking at all of it as a whole and going, there's something wrong here.
This is the last straw. Iva decides to end her friendship with Edith.
I had told her I was just done. I felt relieved when I cut ties with her because it was just a constant buildup, and she was constantly negative. Everything about her was negative.
But little does Iva know, this isn't the last she'll see of Edith. And nothing can prepare her for how vengeful Edith can be.
She became this monster.
I can't deal with you.
Actress Iva Frank Singer has just broken off her rocky friendship with Edith May after years of increasingly angry and erratic outbursts.
I just watched everything escalate and escalate. There's only so much you can endure from someone.
But within just a few days, Edith makes it known that she won't be pushed aside so easily.
After I cut ties with her, I started getting inundated with emails with porn websites. I knew immediately that it was her signing me up. I mean, it was unbelievable, and I just wanted her to go away.
She was hoping that would be a phase, but it kept going and going and going.
At a loss, Iva decides to reach out to Neil Johnson. She remembers how he was harassed by Edith after their blind date went sour.
I contacted Neil via email, and I said to him, I know that she was harassing you on the internet, so she's doing all of these things to me now, and I think we need to stay in touch.
Neil and Iva email back and forth. Because of their shared ordeal, they eventually become friends. And in 2005, they decide to work together. Neil casts Iva as the narrator in his sci-fi film, Battle Space.
We did recorded the voiceover and it all went really well.
But when news spreads that Iva and Neil are working together, Edith's stalking ratchets up to the next level.
She would send strange things in the mail, often photos of her naked, sometimes little packages of things, often strange insects, and it was just bizarre stuff.
But it soon becomes clear that Edith's main target is Iva. And now she seems intent on destroying her career. She posts obscene remarks on Iva's acting website. Then, she begins tracking what TV shows Iva is working on and makes anonymous calls to the set.
Edith would call the production company. And she would say, "You don't want this girl, she's into porn." Literally calling where she would be working at.
The things that she did were threatening my work. I didn't know if I did get a job, what kind of damage she was going to try to do behind the scenes.
For Edith, Neil and Iva have both rejected her. Iva's having success in her career. Neil is facilitating that success. So here she's feeling more abandoned, more alone, more rejected, and she's just going to become more dangerous.
Now, Edith's obsession takes a terrifying turn. Iva begins to receive threatening emails from anonymous addresses. She knows immediately that they're from Edith.
She threatened to kill me. She threatened to slice me up, cut me into pieces.
These emails are incredibly violent, and they're very, very scary. Edith's interest in Iva is obsessive. She's mentally unstable, and she's hell-bent on hurting Iva. This is not a good combination.
I was worried for Iva's mental state, to be honest. You could see it was taking a toll on Iva's life, you know, emotionally.
My sister was changing. She was a little more skittish. She was a little more paranoid. It was getting worse and worse. I started to become concerned with Iva's safety.
Now, in fear for her life, Iva turns to the police. But at the precinct, she is shocked to find out that Edith was there first.
I learned that she had already been down there several times, accusing me of attacking her.
Based on Edith's convincing claim, police are under the impression that Iva is the stalker, not Edith.
We've come across this before when we've had female stalkers. We've seen the stalker actually claim to be the victim. The police don't know who the victim and the perpetrator are, and it's the stalker's word versus the stalking victim's word.
Fortunately, after listening to Iva's story, police believe her and open an investigation into Edith. However, there isn't enough evidence to arrest Edith, and until she makes a direct threat against Iva, there's nothing that can be done.
A lot of people don't take it seriously until something serious happens. There's a lot of red tape, and you have to prove up a lot on your own.
In November of 2005, Iva gets that proof when Edith takes her campaign of terror to another level with a chilling death threat.
I'm coming over tonight, and I am blowing your brains right off your plastic, fake plastic surgery head. Kiss your ass goodbye.
Actress Iva Frank Singer has just received a terrifying voicemail message from her stalker, Edith May.
You listen to me, you piece of. I am personally coming to your house, and I am gonna blow your head off. I know where you are 24 hours a day. I got a big gun. I'm coming over tonight. Kiss your ass goodbye.
I was her all-consuming preoccupation. She was going to come after me. It was frightening.
Iva immediately takes the recording to police, hoping the death threat is enough evidence to get a restraining order against Edith.
Iva was absolutely right for taking these death threats seriously. This is how stalkings happen. You have the first initial type of contact, and then escalates and escalates and escalates until it becomes dangerous. This is not a normal person. We don't know what she's capable of.
After listening to the recording, a judge grants Iva the order. Edith is to have no contact with Iva, in person, over the phone, by letter, or email. But the ink on the restraining order is barely dry when Edith starts stalking Iva again. In fact, she won't leave Iva alone.
When she was told to stop, she didn't stop. Her stalking became worse.
My sister was getting threatening phone calls. She was getting threatening emails. Wherever she would go, she was always looking over her shoulder.
I never knew at what corner I turned where she was going to be and how she was going to attack me.
She was losing weight. She wasn't eating. She wouldn't go anywhere because she might have showed up. You could tell she was scared.
But just when it seems nothing can be done to stop Edith, things change. Edith takes her violent rhetoric a chilling step further. threatening to shoot a detective assigned to Iva's case. The direct threat gives police the evidence they need to take action.
Now, because there's an officer being threatened, it's high alert. Now they were going after her, for sure.
Edith is arrested for threatening a police officer and for violating the restraining order. Finally, in July of 2006, Iva faces her stalker in court.
The scariest moment for Iva, in my opinion, was when she was in the courtroom and she had to face the monster. And she had to see this crazy woman across the courtroom and feel her glare of evil and actually face her.
When I went on the stand, she was looking at me like, it was almost like a rabid dog, and she was like growling, going, lies, lies, lies. Finally, the judge said, make her stop, and they had to bring in 3 bailiffs. They pinned her against the wall, face first, and held her there until she agreed to calm down.
After Edith's outburst in court, the judge orders her to undergo psychiatric evaluation. 3 doctors agree on a complex diagnosis. She is bipolar, psychotic, and schizophrenic. Edith is sentenced to 14 months in a mental institution for the criminally insane instead of going to prison.
I felt like I was cheated. I felt like she should have been in prison. I mean, everything she did is punishable by prison.
But with Edith locked away, the following year is peaceful for Iva. Taking no chances, Iva decides to move to a new home, giving only her immediate family the address and phone number.
I had to move to a different location for my security.
But Iva's peace would prove to be short-lived. Not even intense psychiatric treatment can stop Edith's obsession with Iva.
I couldn't sleep at night. I knew no matter what, I'm still the target.
Actress Iva Frank Singer has had a 14-month lull without being tormented by her stalker, Edith May, after she was confined to a mental institution. But now, much to her dismay, she learns that Edith has just been released early from her court-ordered sentence.
Her sentence was pretty much 50% of what it was supposed to have been. And then they released her.
Iva has already gotten an unlisted phone number and relocated so Edith can't find her. But soon, her worst fears are realized.
I saw this car drive by. I glanced at it, and it was her. And she was driving right in front of my house. And how she knew where I lived, I have no idea. It was frightening.
Edith speeds off, but seconds later, the phone rings.
It was her voice, and she said, Iva, you're gonna die. I was shocked. Like, how did she get my phone number? I knew she was still coming after me.
I was getting really nervous, and I was getting nervous for her. You know, she was in fear of her life.
Iva reports the incident to police, but without proof it is actually Edith, they can't arrest her.
You know, the system wasn't protecting me and on any level, and emotionally, it really takes a toll on you when you know that you're not just battling the stalker, you're battling the system.
This woman was getting progressively worse. She was stalking her in person. She would drive by, park by her house. She would stalk the post office box. She would wait there for her. She would send friends to go stalk her. That's how bad it was.
Iva fears for her life. Since the authorities can do little to help, her brother Michael, a professional martial arts instructor, steps up to provide round-the-clock security.
I'd keep an eye on her. I'd keep an eye on what's going around. And I've also taught my sister some things how to defend herself, so if someone comes up to grab her or whatever, she knows what to do.
But Iva finally decides she needs the ultimate protection from Edith. She buys a pistol.
I'm licensed to carry a firearm. I don't go anywhere without it. I'm never in my house without the gun strapped to my ankle. I don't go to sleep until, like, I do a sweep of the windows, the doors.
Although Iva's choice to obtain a firearm is controversial and carries an obvious risk, it gives her peace of mind knowing that she could protect herself if needed.
Getting trained in self-defense, getting a firearm, whatever she needs to do to actually protect herself, she takes back control. She gets her life back, and she's on her feet.
To further fend off Edith's attacks, Iva again changes her phone number and P.O. box. And to Iva's relief and great surprise, for some reason, Edith's stalking eventually subsides. She doesn't call, drive by the house, or follow her.
Just try to ignore it as much as she can. It's hard. She's still afraid that something might happen.
While Iva hasn't seen Edith for months, she still occasionally receives harassing emails.
I never really feel 100% safe. If I see somebody that wears their hair like her, even if I know it's not her, I stare at them to make sure. I watch every single person everywhere I go. Stalking changes your life. The psychological impact it has on you, it's not just something that goes away.
The fact that Iva hasn't seen Edith in some time probably means that Edith has shifted her focus and is now terrorizing a new victim. Unfortunately, most stalkers don't just go away, and neither do the emotional scars they inflict on their victims.
Today, Iva continues to act in film and television and volunteers for an organization called Jody's Voice to help victims of stalking.
I focus on my goals and my dreams, and, I just keep living my life and moving forward. You can't just stop because of this person. That's what they want, and if you allow them to win, then you lose.